Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. and serves as the city's policymaking and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rule of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. By city ordinance, all remarks must be addressed to the City Council as a body and not to any City Council member, including the mayor. The chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City Government.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sioux Falls City Council meeting of Tuesday, July 17. Thank you for being here. Clerk, let's begin by reading the roll.
Councilmembers Starr.
Here.
Staley.
Here.
Brecky.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Kiley.
Here.
Neitzert.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Sale.
Here.
Tonight we are honored to have Dr. John Christofferson, who's senior pastor at First Lutheran Church, to lead us in our invocation. And so I'd ask that you rise for that and then stay standing for our Pledge of Allegiance to immediately follow.
If I could have you each just close your eyes and image this wonderful metaphor with me. In the foothills of the Montana Rockies, a little stream is born. It trickles its fitful path down the hillside and makes its way out into the open plain. Growing broader and deeper, much like our lives, it becomes a river, the Missouri. And Montana says, "Oh, little river, you're mine." But declining to be cradled by its parent state, on it flows. Moving now between the sister Dakotas and North and South Dakota, each say, "Oh, little river, you're ours." But like a quivering blade of grass, in the mid-July breeze, it continues to flow onward, now angling between the neighboring states of Iowa and Nebraska, each of them reaching out for possession, saying, "Little river, you're mine." But on it flows, till it joins together with the waters of the mighty Mississippi. And the Mississippi says, "Oh, at last, little river, you're mine." But again, in its own unique current, growing broader and deeper and slower, it continues to flow onward until it empties out into the Gulf of Mexico. And in the rhythmic ebb and flow of the ocean depths, it hears the ocean's whispering voice saying, "Little river, you're mine." For you see, it was I who sent those rain clouds up into the Montana Rockies that gave you birth. And it was I who slowly, gently, beyond all earthly claim, drew you back to myself. From me you came, to me you return. Only I can truly say, "You're mine." Heavenly Father, we thank you for this claiming word that comes home to our hearts and minds again this night, reminding us that we are all precious in your sight. as the Sunday school song down through the generations would remind us, red and yellow, black and white, indeed, each a child of yours, claimed by you for always. So, Lord, I pray this night for our mayor and members of the council and the cabinet, the staff, and pray for their leadership in our community, and pray that in their discernment and in their decision-making, that the policies and the decisions that are made would reflect the wonder of your grace for each person as a part of this wonderful community that we call Sioux Falls. Yes, Lord, bless us and keep us into your tender bosom gather. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's move on to our consent agenda. And I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second, Selberg.
Motion to approve by Kylie, seconded by Selberg. Is there Councilor Neitzer?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the consent agenda by replacing Carl V. Carlson with Roland Machinery in item number 6.
Second, Erickson.
Okay, a motion by Councilor Neitzer, seconded by Erickson on that change. Any discussion on that? If not, I need a vote on that amendment, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
And if there's any other changes, seeing none, I need a vote on the amended main motion.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
Okay, that is passed 8-0 as well. Let's move on to our regular agenda and approval of our regular agenda.
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
Motion approved by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Kylie. Any discussion or debate? If not, a roll call vote to approve that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Now we'll move on to a public input portion of our meeting for this evening. Anyone who has public input comments for the council and the body can come forward. You have 5 minutes to speak to the council. Just simply state your name. Come on forward, ma'am. State your name and address the council as a body. As a reminder, we did pass an ordinance that changes that time limit. That's not into effect yet, so you still have 5 minutes. So,
Great.
welcome.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Mary Fleming, and I live in Sioux Falls. My husband and I have raised our granddaughter since, well, for 16 years. She'll be 17 in August. I have a concern that she brought to me yesterday. We were at the driver license bureau. She had to get a new license. And she was talking to me about having driven a friend of hers home yesterday morning from our house. She came upon the road construction. I think it's 69th in Minnesota. There was a woman there holding a stop, slow sign. It came to stop. My granddaughter stopped. The woman aggressively said to her, "Back the F up. What the hell is wrong with you?" And she was like, I mean, I'm stopped. Then, and her friend was with her. Then, then she hit her car with her sign in front of it, which that kind of thing just, on many levels, just goes against everything I stand for and believe in people. But I know it's it's out there, but then when it came time, she turned it to say slow and stood in front of my granddaughter's car, like not letting her go. And finally she did with a dirty look. And I was like, oh. Of course she, you know, she knows there's not, the world isn't, you know, perfect. She's seen things, she's in high school, but I hate to have that kind of thing going on, you know, in that setting. It's not like she was in a store and was, you know, a parking lot, but it was I'm assuming a city worker using that language, maybe having a bad day, which we all have, and I have at work, but I've never said or anything like that to anybody, and it really upset me that that happened to her. I'm the kind that would have liked to have driven out there myself and found her and confronted her, but it just wasn't doable, and I just said, I'm gonna go to the city council about it, and well, why, you know, and I said, because that's not right, and you shouldn't have been treated that way, and that woman needs to be retrained or regrouped. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because, like I said, it's upsetting, and it would have upset me, but I would have, you know, I probably would have gotten out, not angrily, but said, what's going, you know, why are you doing this, or where's your supervisor? But she's just a young girl making her way, trying to find her way, and that doesn't help. You know, I just hope that that kind of thing doesn't go on very often, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention so that I could tell her that I stood up for her and she doesn't have to be treated like that. Because I don't think anybody here would want that happening to their child or grandchild. So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Mary, thanks for being here and sharing that. Appreciate that.
Okay, thanks for listening.
You bet. Good evening, Bruce.
Good afternoon, good evening. Bruce Danielson. I'm going to do something a little different. I haven't been here for a couple weeks, but I just wanted to start out by talking about an individual that I've become very acquainted with lately. And I'm honored to reintroduce to South Dakota a man by the name of Cleveland Abbott. Cleve was born in 1894 in Yankton to life's disadvantages most of us today can never fully understand. Cleve was a South Dakota born and raised offspring of Alabama slavery. Hard economic times brought his parents to South Dakota to try and raise a family. Little did they know their oldest child would return to their Alabama to help break American segregation through the education and skills honed in Watertown and at South Dakota State. South Dakotans who know of Cleve know only of his amazing local sports scorecard. But as a 19-year-old, his reputation had grown enough for Tuskegee Institute founder Booker T. Washington to ask him quietly to lead an effort to break American Jim Crow segregation through sports. He proved up to the challenge. He used his South Dakota experience to prove the value of a man and woman is not based on color. As a young man, South Dakota gave Cleve opportunities he could never get in the Deep South. There was no separate but equal in South Dakota. The hard prairie life was equally hard for all. Cleve excelled in everything he attempted. This child, brought up with the South Dakota idea he could do anything, found a way to create possibilities for men and women who were not allowed to do anything. His efforts to create showcasing opportunities for his talented student athletes created a model for the modern colorblind world of international sports. His Tuskegee Institute athletic programs, such as the Tuskegee Relays, were so successful, the world wanted his students and him to teach the rest of us how to be successful. He and his wife, Jessie, created the first organized women's college athletic programs, which then went on and ruled national and international track and field events for decades. His students went on to be world leaders using the example he lived. The revered Duke of Dakota was asked to be the first black member of the USA Track and Field Board, and then went on to the U.S. Olympic Committee in 1948. He ended up having the first two women to ever gain an Olympic gold medal in the 1948 and the 1956 Olympic Games. His humble beginnings in South Dakota bring honor to all of us through his excellence. In his short life, he was able to blend raw talent with superb mind to break the rules of American segregation. His national championships created a scorecard, but his life was an example of a true champion, a South Dakota champion. You might be wondering why I brought this here tonight. Sioux Falls has a jewel hidden in the Washington Pavilion, the South Dakota African American Museum. Cleve is a highlighted member of this esteemed group. Please go spend some time there and see how blessed we are to have it here in Sioux Falls. Cleve will also be formally inducted into the South Dakota Hall of Fame this September 7th and 8th in Chamberlain. Please join us and celebrate the excellence of South Dakota. Thank you.
Bruce, great story. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Hello, my name's Catherine Riffle. I've been here before. I'm an advocate for the homeless, the displaced, and the distraught people down in our center of town. I'm concerned about the fact that they're not being assisted properly. We have a lot of churches in our area that help with materialistic things. Nobody seems to be able to come up with a shelter. I am pushing constantly for a shelter for them so that they can get in and out of the sun a little bit. They have seizures on the streets, and they're diabetic, and they're alcoholic, and they're HIV, and mentally challenged, and handicapped. Some are basically wheelchair paralyzed, some are walking with canes, etc. I don't know why our city will not take it upon yourselves in the seats that you are in, but we need a shelter for these people. If they're going to die on the streets, at least let them get in a shelter. Come on, you know, why make them die on the streets and suffocate to death out there and be in pain and everything else with nobody caring? In the winter, you could use that shelter, and instead of a fan, you could put a little space heater or something. I don't know why you can't come up with one place downtown that meets the needs of these people. Once you would get them into this little shelter, we can then address what they need. I'm having a meeting at the library on the 19th of this month, July, and it is to find out what they feel they need, not what our organizations assume or think they need. Not everybody has the same problem. Everybody has different needs and different caring. They are not there because of choice, most of them. Some of them are brokenhearted because they lost their children. Some are brokenhearted because their wife or husband died. They can't pick up the pieces. Some have hit the bottle because they don't know what else to do. Some are dying with diabetes because they can't get medicines to help them. If we can get them into these shelters, we can address their medicines and their situations. If you're going to have alcoholic organizations in town to help, then why can't we reach them? If I can communicate with them, y'all can communicate with them. They will talk with you. They care. They like to be clean. And how many people, when the churches offer their donations and all, how many times do you see those particular people I'm talking about that are sloshed off their butts, can't walk a straight line, falling and passing out? They only carry one bag with them. So how much do you think those church donations are going into that backpack? We're not meeting the needs of that particular part of our community. We are a community. Everybody says we care. We do care. I care. I know we have all the entertainment, all the money's going in for beautifying the city, all the rich developers are coming in and are already here in Sanford and all the medicals and everything else. Why can't we meet the needs of the few people down there? Again, like I said last week, if you don't like what they look like, then do something about it. Don't lock them up and put them in jail. Don't put them in a mental ward. You know, take them to the hospital. Get them cleaned up if you have to. Give them a new set of clothing from one of our organizations that donate. Get them into something where they can do. Don't force them. You know, they walk with me for hours and they don't drink. But yet when I leave them and they're left by themselves in the cold or alone crying, and somebody shows up with a bottle, the first thing they're going to do is chug-a-lug. So I'm going to have this meeting at the library on the 19th from 1 to 4 to see what they need, to invite them there for a drink and a snack. I'd like to invite other people to come in, see what you can do to help out. Maybe somebody can find it upon themselves to donate a little building, a little shack, a little tent. Somebody can donate a fan, another can donate a heater. Maybe somebody can donate another electrical cord that'll hit electrical socket. Not every place is marked private property out here. I think we need to take a look at this. We can't keep beautifying the city when you keep missing the beginning of the problem. If we can meet the needs of the people, look how far we can go. Look what you could do for them. Look where their lives would change. You know, I'm tired of hurting myself by seeing them down there. And we have a new mayor now. We have new members on the council and committees and everything. Let's all try and work together.
Thank you for your input tonight.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
and I have Dennis Nelson with me. He's going to be the speaker at my meeting. I didn't get a chance to introduce him, but just so you all know.
Great, Dennis, thank you. Hi, James.
Hey, Mayor, how you doing?
Good.
It's not been a very good day today. Not at all. But I'm still hanging in there. And I have to apologize to calling too earlier. Rough day. But anyway, I did not have a very good experience today, which I kind of figured this was going to happen anyway because I actually make too much money than what SSI gives me, which there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But it's just going to make it tough for me to get a place because I can't really afford the motel. It's hard, but I got a hold of a pro bono attorney, but they don't do the pro bono that's the reason why Heather's not here, because it was not a very good idea to bring her tonight. But and I heard something else which I can't really discuss because rumors, you know, rumors are bogus, you know, I mean, and they do hurt, but you can't do anything about it. But I'm still being strong. I still do help, still do take people places. I just need some help, and I don't like asking for help, actually, I really don't. Because I'm not that kind because I know how it feels not to get the help. And, it's just tough. I'm just not in a very good mood, and I'm not going to take it out on nobody because that's not me, you know, because it's not your guys' fault. You know, you can only do so much, and it's just like like I said before, like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If you want help or assistance, you got to take that always first step. It's always nice to have someone there to help too. You know, I know what she and the other ones are saying about. Yeah, it's tough. I was homeless, and it's tough when you have nowhere to go to get warm in the wintertime. And it's tough when churches close their doors on you. And it's hard. But I can remember when the city was number one. I don't know how long that's been, a long time ago. When it was the number one city in the U.S. You know, I've seen Sioux Falls grow, you know, and I've seen new places coming up, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with. That's pretty good. But I'm just concerned about Heather right now because she's not doing too good. As I'm a very caring person. Because I would lay my life down for anyone. I'd go across the street in the middle of traffic if a guy was hitting a girl or being abusive to anyone. Because that's how I am. Because I've seen it, and I just can't stand the way things are going and how they're going. But I got to, well, I have to, today I got off, so tomorrow I work. And I do love to work. You know, I mean, I give my job 100%. Always have. But like I said, you guys can only do so much. You know, but I have y'all back. That's how I am. And because I've walked through a burning building in Rapid one time to save people. It doesn't matter to me as long as somebody else is saved. You guys have a good night.
James, thanks, man. Have a good week, buddy.
Evening.
Good evening, sir. Welcome.
I'm Dennis Nelson, and I am the president of Mid-America Advocates.
President of what? Can you put the
Mid-America Advocates
Got
in
it.
South Dakota.
Okay.
Actually, in Sioux Falls.
Okay.
I've been watching for about 7 years now. Matter of fact, I did run to the city council 9 years ago, a plan to help the homeless here in Sioux Falls. I left for a little bit, and all the progress that we made at that time has fallen. Now remind you, I walk with the homeless out here 24/7. I know what they think. They know what I think. I talk to them. I know what they need because they tell me. Right here, how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many of you have actually been out there and walked with the homeless? How many of you even talked to them? See, these are the kind of things that draw lines between people. There's a lot of good people out there on the streets that live there. There's a lot of good people right here. But we let what media wants to tell us, what other people's accidentally run into, just bad ideas. And we've forgotten to think for ourselves. Now, I don't know about you guys, but some of the stuff that's happened to the homeless, I would not ever want my grandfather to see me do. Believe me, that would hurt. Because he raised somebody, well, he raised my dad and me to believe one thing. If a man's hungry, you feed him. If he comes back, you put him to work. That way we keep his self-respect. We don't do that here. We just keep giving handouts. It's time to stop with the handouts and get down and fix stuff. I know you might not like what I'm saying, but we need to get that done. We've got people dying out here on the street. I've got 7 good friends that died. That hurts. I've walked with out there on the streets. I have 1 veteran die from here that I remember. I worked 5 years to get that man off these streets, And I got him in the VA hospital over in, next to Rapid City. Got him straightened around, right? Got him sent back over here, and they dumped him right back out here in the cesspool. About $150,000 we just threw away. What we needed, instead of dropping him here, is a halfway house. A month after he was on the street, he fell over at the banquet, busted his head open, and died. What do we do? Oh, okay. That happens. Next. Is that what we really want to do? Or are we really going to try to do something for a change? Like make a difference? Can't win all of them. You know that, I know that. But we really need to start looking at what we can do. Now, I said I brought a project here. The name of that project was the Alpha Project. I gave it to the place down here. And I gave it to the Homeless Coalition. What they do? They opened up a Douglas house and just threw people in it. Can't do that. Anybody here can figure out why you can't take somebody that's lived on the street for 7, 8, 10 years and just throw them in a house and expect them to live like we do? It's not going to happen. You got to work at it.
Dennis, thanks for your input tonight. Appreciate you being here.
So,
thank you.
You have a beautiful day. Oh, you guys are invited to this.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I have some handouts. How do I go about that?
Give them to Jim there, and he'll get them to us. You bet.
Good evening. My name is Ria Contos. It is time for the public to be involved and learn what pesticides are being used to combat mosquitoes in our community and what herbicides are being used in our parks and our school grounds. These pesticides are not completely without risk and kill more than just mosquitoes, like bees and any insects that the fogging happens to come in contact with. Our groundwater is at risk with the use of herbicides, and the public is not told when parks are treated, so they may unwittingly be enjoying the park with their kids and pets before it's really safe. This fall, 2018, would be a great time to begin a public discussion of natural methods to treat mosquitoes and curb weeds. Other cities and other states are exploring these options, and many are enjoying the benefits of lessened chemical impacts. We owe it to our current and future residents to make this most toxic-free community that it can be. Safety data sheets and the EPA give us clues to what the chemicals do and the possible risks associated with their use. It is all very confusing and unsettling. Fact sheets to the mayor and city council members have been provided for further reading. Do enjoy. We use Premier Triplet on our parks and school grounds up to twice a year. This product is composed of 3 chemicals, 2,4-D, MCPP, and dicamba. They all have their risks, and bundled together, it is unknown exactly what the risks are because the EPA studies the chemicals singularly, not mixed. Literature states that 2,4-D has a half-life of 10 days. However, the city of Sioux Falls does not share that info with the general public and has no warnings posted after a park is treated. This product has a toxic level of 1, most toxic in the acid form, with severe eye irritants along with nervous system damage. The other 2 components, MCPP and dicamba, have a risk to our groundwater, and dicamba has the potential for causing risk to endangered birds, mammals, and non-target plants. With the mosquito control division of the health department, the city is being treated weekly with fogging per zones that have been determined based on the latest mosquito counts, etc. This product is called Perm-X UL 3030, which involves 2 shared chemicals in its composition, which are permethrin and PTO. Each have their own side effects. Permethrin is highly toxic to bees and all other insects in the fogging path. Respiratory problems are known issues with exposures to this chemical. Again, this is a combo product that has not been studied other than individually. A great website for reference is beyondpesticides.org. The public can find information on how to treat their own lawns and mosquitoes naturally without risk to self, family, pets, and environment. One effective such safe product is 20% industrial vinegar to kill weeds. This site is also an educational tool for municipalities that host educational platforms in which to learn about the latest technologies on all things pesticides. Public education and preventative strategies should be put in place to ultimately create a healthy environment and preserve our pollinators for today and the future. The health and park departments need to consider natural methods, and the public needs to have input in the choices that are being presented for spring, summer 2019. In the meantime, we need to expedite an alert system that lets the public know when mosquito spraying is occurring in residential areas and trail systems. This system should also include when the parks and schoolyards are being treated. Currently, mosquito control posts a press release after 2 o'clock each on the day of spraying for later that same night on select residential zones on the mosquito control page. This is where I look daily.
Thank you for your input tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to allow this citizen to speak for another minute.
Okay.
I'm nearly done. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. That same night on select residential zones on the mosquito control page. This is where I look daily, but recently it was not posted to the usual place. But as I learned that next day, the city's news page, it was. And the spraying occurred in my zone and I was unaware. So I did not have a chance to get my dogs inside or turn off my AC in time, as the frequently asked questions section of the city's mosquito page recommends, as well as keeping your children and indoors and other tips. Alerts to our cell phones would be nice. It is interesting to note that this year, the city of Harrisburg has included mosquito spray alerts as part of their notification offerings. Since 2013, the city of Sioux Falls has offered a snow alert system to the public. We could use the same or similar app to notify by email, text, or social media about all the pesticide, herbicide spraying and treatments. The residents of Sioux Falls deserve up-to-date notifications in the least toxic environment possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Rhea. Thanks for the handouts. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Mayor, my name is Denny McReynolds, lifetime resident of Sioux Falls. A few weeks ago, I started watching Sioux Falls police officer Sam Clements telling us about guns being stolen from unlocked vehicles in our community. One of his last interviews, he said something to the effect, I don't know what to say, or I don't know what to do. And I took this as a call for help or assistance. I'd like to see a city ordinance with strong penalties to those who are so negligent and irresponsible. I really don't want to see Officer Clements talk about someone who has been shot or worse from a gun stolen from a vehicle in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. Hi, Tim.
How are we doing tonight?
Good.
Tim Stanga. I guess I've had a lot of people ask me about the ash trees and the ash borer. I know that the city has come out and they're trying to educate people, But I'd like the city to come out a little bit more and to really explain what's happening with the ash borer, why Project Trim was cut off and shut off, be able to explain that to the people, because a lot of people will ask, you know, there's a lot of trees that are hanging in the roads right now. But coming out and explaining to the people why we're not trimming trees. The other question is, and I know it's been 5 to 10 years we've known that this has been coming, what is our plan? What is a plan that the city has put together to where if a person has 10 ash trees in their yard and every single one of them dies, is the city gonna help them out to get rid of the ash trees, or are they just gonna tell them, sorry, you get them cut down, it's at your expense? We all know that an ash tree can grow up to 300-400 feet. And you're probably looking at $4,000 to $5,000 to take just one tree down. Nobody's gonna be able to afford to do that. I guess that's my question. How far is the city gonna go on this? What is our plan to help the citizens of Sioux Falls? I've asked people that have come up to me and said, I've asked people that to treat the trees. Well, it's $700 to $800 a year, and you gotta treat them up to 4 years, and then you gotta just sort of keep watching them after that 4th year. Is a tree really worth that much? Is a tree worth it? Do you cut it down? Do you keep it? I mean, I guess I'd like to have the city explain to people, is it worth keeping an ash tree that is 20, 30 years old? I just think that if the city could come out and explain a little bit more on what we're gonna do with this ash tree, how we're going to, how do you wanna say, take charge, and to be able to help the citizens be able to make it through this. Thank you.
Tim, we're actually launching a website here shortly with all these resources that will live and address a lot of those things, so stay tuned on that. Yeah.
Greetings.
Hey, greetings.
Greetings. I'm David Zokaitis, and I've got 2 topics tonight. I think we'll find them all interesting. There's a new law that y'all drafted just a little while ago, and due to take effect, I guess, in August. And I have a few comments on it. And there's the name of the law and the section and the citation, which I found online. Now, my time up here for public input is going to drop 2 minutes, and I'm going to miss those 2 minutes. But I do know that it's going to be kind of balanced out with being able to speak at the first reading. So overall, it's probably a good change. And I wanted to say, you know, it's good to make good changes. You know, not every change is bad, even though I am going to miss those 2 minutes. Now, I went through and read the ordinance online a little while ago, and line D says, each person addressing the city council shall step up to the microphone. All right, so far so good. And E says electronic presentations that require audio or visual equipment are no longer allowed. Now I thought about this for a little while, and audio equipment includes, you know, microphones and amplifier, there's a speaker somewhere, and maybe a computer to drive the system. And visual equipment, you know, there's that scanner thing over there, and this giant projector, and all those monitors, and I'm trying to make sense out of what this law really says. Because D and E, to me, conflict. I mean, D says use a microphone, E says no electronics. And I'm going, what the heck? It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And then I'm really confused about the terminology of electronic presentation. You know, I'm not a robot or a cyborg. I'm a person, and I'm speaking. I give verbal presentations with, you know, some various assists. So I really don't know what an electronic presentation is. I need some clarification. Now, I've been up here making PowerPoints for quite a while, and Bruce Danielson likes videos now and again, and I kind of wonder if I've been a little too effective maybe, or maybe I should feel complimented because the newspaper articles say no more PowerPoints, and that's me, so I'm kind of wondering what's going on. And now if you don't want public inputters using all this fancy electronic stuff, maybe we should like throw it out and not let anybody use it. City staff uses the microphone, and there's a camera, and that's all audio-visual equipment. What the heck? And are you just trying to prevent satirical videos? Well, I don't do very many of those. I had a zombie video, but that was kind of grew out of a song I wrote for the zombie walk. And I don't know. A lot of people liked it. A few people thought it was kind of too strange. Oh, and there's PowerPoints. They're wonderful. But if I'm not supposed to use a PowerPoint, I mean, they take time. There's this projector. Do I just print out all the pages and have Jim put them up page by page? So I'm really confused. Anyway, my recommendation, I always like to make recommendations. I don't just complain. And that is to clarify what the heck the new ordinance is all about. That's my recommendation. Oh, and I've got to compliment the mayor, mostly you today, sir, because you're now posting the Parks Board meeting audio online. Well, congratulations. Nice new policy. A couple of years ago, I stood right here and said, I don't get it. When Mayor Mike Euther vetoed the city council when they wanted to do that, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe he was it's not his idea, had to be a bad idea, but I don't know. Anyway, congratulations, it's nice. And as always, we should try to enjoy life in nature. This rather alien scene here is from the Badlands of South Dakota, which I recently visited. And as always, good evening.
Thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, y'all. Stephen Ciano. We are all, I want to remind you, a part of nature. Mr. Zokaitis seems to miss that point. It's not just the trees and the grass and the sky. We are a part of it. As such, we are affected by our environment, including those toxins that are put into it, and our cultural mindsets born of institutions which shape our sense of self. So from that position, we often, those such institutions as religion and our educational institutions, they can do good and they can do bad. And I have been a victim and a survivor, both of such, because they often, when somebody's different as I am, often people take offense. It's nothing personal, it's just the way we are. Well, I've been sending you some letters to the city council. I don't know if the mayor gets them, but I do want them to be available to the public, and I want all the presentations, all the letters to the council and mayor to be public. I can go over one of them that was sent on Saturday. Theft of public property for private use. I've already mentioned such, and you have continued to accept what you have done as lawful. I remind you that I just saw someone else do such as this, or city attorney or other advisor tells you it is lawful, doesn't make it so. Remind you, in my case, a confirmed diagnosis of PTSD since '78. Supportive documentation was concealed. My disability claim was obstructed. My right to my needs were denied me. And reportedly, funds were stolen and held in a fraudulent account in a private institution by the creation and use of a fraudulent diagnosis so as to cause me harm and threaten my life. Parties responsible have been paid by have been paid by the public. That includes Southeastern Behavioral Health Care. It was a doctor in there that reversed my already confirmed diagnosis of wrongly denied PTSD since '78, and that was in 2004. Now I've been trying, I left out a couple points like I said I was homeless in the sense, what I mean is technically I do not have a safe, secure place to stay. I'm not claiming that I'm out on the street. Although I don't know what's going to be from day to day, and I need my medical needs met. And I've been pushing for Falls Community Health to do this, to obtain documentation from many years back, if it still exists, that confirmed the PTSD since '78 wrongly denied somewhere around 2006. And for years they have been, as this indicates here, and you certainly, most of you have copies of this, and Mayor, if you don't, I'll certainly copy to you too, or you can certainly get from Jim or any one of these. I'm trying to get city help still, and I'm also working on the federal level, and I have had some positive results on the federal level lately with the present director of the VA locally. Now also, I have mentioned about the environment. I'm concerned about this pipeline in South Dakota. That doesn't concern you necessarily. Well, it does come near here. That is a threat to us, and our over-reliance on the internal combustion engine is a threat to us all. And we do have Don Henley referred to, of the Eagles, referred to his song, The Last Resort, as how the West was lost.
Stephen, thank you. Anyone else for public input? Good evening.
Hi, Mayor. How are you? Sia Brissa, Sioux Falls. So I'm going from motel to motel and catching these human trafficking, prostitution, and pimping, getting police involved to make these arrests here. So then here comes people that come up here and say, well, I'm mentally ill and I don't get county benefits and that. Let me tell you something. There's a motel here that I'm at that houses county alcoholism, meth addicts, sex addictions, and everything else in the book here. So these individuals that are coming through these motels that county's paying $500 a month for has one simple rule for alcoholism is you cannot drink in the rooms. You got to drink alone in the rooms. People do not abide by that rule, so therefore you lose your county assistance. So Falls Community Health has doctors that treat meth addicts and alcoholism. And abuse, Campro and Rabia does your alcoholism. And there is a pill that curbs your appetite and helps with your meth problem. So all of these individuals coming up here, and I can't say it in a roundabout way without breaking confidentiality here, but a lot of these people want a handout. These people that are coming up here have their bridges burnt by county, by the compass, by all of these organizations of FAST with the VA. These people have burnt their bridges. So many of these homeless people, I had to get the police to arrest downtown. Now, do you see all of these homeless people by Munchies and Mercados? No. You arrest them, you put them through the court system, you let the court system handle them. If they need help, the court system, I'm sure, will do it. Sometimes you got to put people through the court system to get the help that they need. Most of these homeless people that I have encountered on the streets have chose this life or didn't take the step to get the help that they need or has gotten a step and they're relapsing. Parolees. I can show you videos of relapsing with parolees in hotels and motels. It's pretty bad. And I call up their parolees, and you know what? They cannot get the help they need unless they ask their parolee, I need help, I'm relapsing. Nobody else can help these people. We need to stop giving handouts. There's too many resources here for that. Too many. And I'm going to keep picking up the homeless people and putting them in jail because they can't be panhandling. They can't be stealing guns and put them in motels. We can't have homeless people that become gang members and want to steal guns out of cars and then want to play with it in a motel room and have a gun go off on there. All of these people are street people. So I will keep on writing affidavits and sending these people with state charges to get them the help they need or whatever, so be it. These individuals have chosen to take a path in life. Most of these people, and I'm not saying there are some that are legit and homeless here, but let me tell you, you come and let's go on another tour, and you will see for yourself in motels and hotels and in these streets, and you talk to these drug addicts and these homeless people, and 90% of them chose to do this or their bridges have been burnt by county. County puts you up in a motel room for $500. When you burn county and you burn the Compass Center and you burn the Children's Inn, it's pretty sad. It really is. So I say do not help with no more homeless people here. Let them figure out their resources because there's tons of resources here. And let's move forward with this homeless stuff here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sierra. Anyone else? Public input. If not, next item, clerk.
Item 18.
There he is. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Come on forward.
Sat all the way over there. It was
Yeah.
a good idea, was it?
Well, welcome.
My name is Nancy Hansen, and I've been here before. I have an interest in the discussion that has occurred about the Falls Park situation and was distressed to hear that there were a group of boys who decided to go swimming out to the island and then couldn't get back if the news reports were correct because the undercurrent took them away from the rock where they were stranded. I have passed the childbearing stage here. But I have a granddaughter. You all have children or grandchildren? I felt badly for the kids that thought that they could swim out to that rock and get back again. They obviously had swim shorts on and the news coverage, and so it wasn't like they just all of a sudden decided to do this. And I wondered where the supervisors were and who was responsible to make sure these kids were safe. Prior to that, I was concerned because my grandchild is the age of the little girl who lost her life. We don't want to have our park, which was debated online, by the way, that a park is supposed to be safe. Do we need it to be safe? Of course we do. We can't have a park that's meant for recreation become a life or death matter because of the fact that we want our city's landmark to be something memorable to take home with us. There were two other deaths that occurred, also with a child involved. And the one thing that I would ask is, consider putting up the signs and doing a community gathering of opinions before you spend a lot of money on a platform, or a study ahead of that, it sounds like, because this is a perfect issue to get some input from the community at large, made up of council people as well as resources from the South Dakota Park and Recreation Department to give us some ideas of what the safety standards are for a park like Falls Park, and also maybe access to funding that would help us to make it safer. And consider putting up signage so that that is covered. At least there won't be a reporter on TV saying there weren't any signs in sight on Saturday night. We want our property to be a place where we can take our grandchildren and children. We watch our kids. There's been a lot of bad news about where were the people who were supposed to be watching those kids. We watch our kids, but we need to protect the kids whose adults aren't right there at their side so we don't have a tragedy. One of the things that I found very interesting, if Tim would help me get this on the screen. I didn't arrange this ahead of time, I'm sorry. I went to the internet and looked for that sign that is posted in the park. And I didn't see any words on that big orange sign that a little child would recognize. Did you read the sign ever? It's a yellow sign with lots of words on it. My granddaughter is 6. And so my question for you is, do you feel as though there's danger in any of these words? That the child would know there was danger in the word caution? Because that's the very first word up at the top. Not danger, but caution or beware. Slippery when wet, next to the rocks, but it's on this sign with 4 circles across from left to right that say slippery when wet, no swimming, turbulent water, and on another sign, low head dam. On the very bottom in small print, it says, encourage your children. The park encourages you to supervise your children.
Nancy, thanks for your input on this.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Can I have one more visual and then I'll leave?
Real quick, you can.
Okay. The picture at the top is one that was put onto online as a sign that's in Nebraska. And this was an effective no swimming sign for little kids to see. He later posted that below the line where the water is drowning the visual man is the word swimming. And he said as a young kindergarten age child, it was very effective with him.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that input.
Thank you for your input.
Welcome. Anyone else on public input? If not, next item, clerk.
Item 18, new 2018 retail wine license for Crystal Investments Incorporated, Black Diamond Casino, 5113 West 41st Street, cup not required. Item 19, new 2018 retail wine license for Hofberger Escape LLC, Escape 605 119 West 10th Street, CUP not required, pending plan review, permit issuance, and final inspections per building services. Item 20, new 2018-19 retail malt beverage license for Hofberger Escape LLC, Escape 605 119 West 10th Street, CUP not required, pending plan review, permit issuance, and final inspections per building services. Item 21, new 2018-19 retail malt beverage license requesting off-sale use only for Sioux Falls Grocery 1, LLC, Pomegranate Market, 4815 South Louise Avenue, CUP not required. Item 22, new 2018 retail wine license requesting off-sale use only for Sioux Falls Grocery 1, LLC, Pomegranate Market, 4815 South Louise Avenue, CUP not required. Item 23, special one-day malt beverage license for El Riyadh Shriners to be operated at Nyberg's Ace, 200 East 12th Street parking lot, 1st Avenue between 11th Street and 14th Streets, East 12th Street and East 13th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue for a special event on August 11th, 2018. Item 24, special one-day liquor license for IJK Incorporated Stogie Cigar Lounge to be operated in the Avera Health IT parking lot, 212 East 11th Street for Stogie Stakeout on July 28, 2018. Item 25, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Catering America to be operated at Avera Research Institute, 6001 South Sharon Avenue for ribbon cutting on August 7, 2018. Item 26, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Multicultural Center of Sioux Falls, 515 North Main Avenue for a fundraiser on December 8, 2018.
Tom, thank you. Hi, Jamie.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 18 is a request for wine. This applicant currently holds a beer license with Video Lottery. Item 19 and 20 are a request from Hofberger Escape. This would be a third location for their particular business. There was a security management plan that should be available to you on the electronic agenda regarding that item. And item 21 and 22 are off-sale requests for Pomegranate Market. Item 23 through 26 are all special one-day requests that have met the state law requirements. However, item 23, I do need to request an amendment in that the boundary that they requested initially changed slightly, in that they need to have 13th Street needs to extend from 2nd Avenue to Phillips Avenue. So I would kindly request that amendment to that item. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any public comments on any of these from anyone? Well, we have Jamie here. Questions for Jamie. Teresa.
No, I was going to make a motion. But
we're going to make a motion?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to approve items 18, 21 through 26.
Second, Starr.
All right, motion by Councilor Staley, seconded by Councilor Starr. Discussion on that? Councilor Neitzer.
Would the applicant be here for items 19 and 20?
Yes.
I guess I would just, I'm not
skipping those two.
Oh, I'm sorry. We made a motion on everything but those.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm sorry about that.
yeah.
I'll defer until we get to
And
that.
do you need a motion to amend that?
I do, yes. I will need a motion to amend that. Item 23.
Item 23, inserting from 2nd Avenue to Phillips Avenue after 12th Street, East 12th Street, and before East 13th Street.
Second, Erickson.
Okay, motion by Councilor Staley on that, seconded by Councilor Erickson. Can I get a vote on that amendment?
Councilmembers Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
And discussion on the amended motion. If not, a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
All right, that is passed 8-0. And now I need a motion for items, was it items 19 and 20?
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve items 19 and 20 for discussion.
Second, Erickson.
Okay. A motion by Councilor Starr, seconded by Councilor Erickson. Can I have a vote on that, please?
Just to discuss it.
That's a motion?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Councilor Neitzer.
Yeah, I guess I would just like to have some information from the applicant regarding how the axe throwing and the alcohol are going to work together. So.
Go hand in hand, right? Adam Stockberger, one of the owners of Hofberger Escape. This is a new element that we're bringing to the escape room experience. It is a craze that's kind of sweeping the nation as we go. So we've the axe lanes consist of 2 targets, which are all caged in. Clients cannot pass the 12-foot mark into that lane at any given time. There are what is called experts, so employees that monitor the clientele minute by minute. We sell our experiences like we do our escape rooms, and we have limited 1 drink per hour per client is how we're going to help regulate some of that. Obviously, if we see some intoxication from clients previous to coming in to visiting us, we would hold the right to refuse service to them.
So if I could follow, just trying to envision this, is this like a hold my beer thing and I throw the axe? Or I mean,
Yeah.
Can the beer be, where's the beer in proximity to the axes? And I mean,
we have tables set up behind the lanes. Oh, that's a good question. We have, and in our renderings that we are providing to the city for our build out, it'll show all of those in the build outs of the lanes themselves and then where those tables are at. So they cannot bring the alcoholic beverages into the lanes. There is a perimeter per se with those tables that are behind the lanes.
and maybe last question, how are you going to do how does a 1 drink per hour thing, how is that?
Monitored not only by our wait staff and host, but by the experts themselves. So the employees that are actually in the lanes with the clientele.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good question.
Councilor Staley.
I've got a question for Jamie. Okay, here's my question, Jamie. Do we have any facilities in Sioux Falls where we allow people to be at a gun range, having consumed some wine or beer. And second, do we have any instances in Sioux Falls where we would have an archery situation where people are using bow and arrow after they've mixed in with this alcohol or beer situation?
Well, I do know that when Badlands Pawn and Gun Range was open, they did have a liquor license as well. I can't speak to exactly what was allowed because I had never been there. I honestly don't know if they allowed alcohol in the gun range or if there was a bow and arrow range. I honestly don't know that. But I do know that in the same building, in the same legal description, that we did allow a gun range and alcohol.
So would that be the same as what we're doing here, or is this more of a package deal?
I really can't, not seeing Badlands Gun Range and how it was designed from hearing it secondhand, it was in a completely separate area. It was not in the same area. Like I said, I don't know that for sure because I had never been there and never seen it. But it was in the same building, same legal description. So the property was covered by the same, or by the license, which is the same in this aspect. It sounds like the bar and the lanes, axe throwing lanes would be in the same legal. Alcohol could be allowed anywhere on that legal description.
Councilor Erickson.
I have a question for the applicant, please. My question is, I haven't been, I've seen these all over when I'm traveling and we see the billboards and it's kind of a new craze crest. My question is how long does it take if I'm going to be your patron and I'm going to engage in this? I mean, are we talking, is it going to take me 10 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours? What does the timeline look if I want to come and do a competition or participate?
Sure. There's 60-minute experiences.
Okay.
Now with the axe lanes, folks can buy an extra hour if they would like. So total, if somebody wanted to just roll over and the availability was there, we take a lot of reservations in advance. So the schedule gets filled up quite a bit, but 60-minute experience.
How many people per lane?
Per lane, you can hold up to 6 people.
Up to 6 people. So 60 minutes for 6 people is not a whole lot of time doing it. But I mean, that's the fun of it, is doing it with friends and competition and whatever.
Right.
But I just wanted to know exactly, what the timeline we were looking at as far as the participation of that. You also have the escape room at the same place, correct?
Correct.
So you can commingle and do you have party rooms? Explain a little bit about what it looks like. I haven't been there yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You should come. It's fun. Our downtown location is going to consist of 2 escape rooms and 6 axe lanes, along with a bar and an outdoor patio setting. The other rooms just have the escape rooms right now. We're in the works of trying to open up some axe throwing lanes prior to, because it's taken a little bit longer than we want downtown, but haven't got anything up and going as of yet. If I can add for the council, we have done extensive research in other facilities such as these that house just axe lanes, and we kind of we're going off of their standard of what they have. We are also members of the World Axe Throwing League, which also has procedures and policies in place as well to keep the safety. There have, in the about 4 years of lifespan since axe throwing has kind of swept from Canada on down the East Coast and moved into the Midwest, there have been 2 occasions of minor incidences upon maybe a splinter or things like that. Nobody cutting off a finger or anything in that case, and none of them were alcohol related.
Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Other questions for Mr. Stockbar?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for the city attorney's office, I guess, is more where I'm headed with this, because our procedure with this, we have the 2 things we consider as a qualified person and a suitable person, suitable location. If someone wanted to vote against this, would there be a way to say that this wouldn't be, it's definitely not a suitable person issue? Is it, can you get to suitable location to be concerned about this?
I think you, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you could do the suitable location.
How does that, I guess, give me a little bit more of how that falls under?
Is it a suitable person in a suitable location is what the standard is that we're looking at. Well, we don't know if it's a suitable person. We can't guarantee that at everybody that shows up. But is this a suitable location for this type of activity?
So if you wanted, you would have to make the argument that downtown's not a suitable location for this type of, I'm trying to get to how this wouldn't be a location.
Would you argue that this particular location would be not suitable for the activity?
So I couldn't argue that it wasn't a suitable activity for alcohol to mix the two together.
You could argue that. I don't know that would
legally
carry.
I
don't know that would carry the day for you, Councilor Stark.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Other questions on this topic for the applicant? Councilor Kiley?
Just a follow-up question, what you'd stated that it's trickled down from other areas now, and it is here. Has it involved malt beverages and wine, the two together?
Yes, it has. Recently, there has been an axe throwing company out of Minneapolis that opened up a couple months ago. They're currently opening a second location, different down in Omaha. So there's 2 locations down in Omaha. Kansas City has a couple. Chicago, obviously. As you move farther east, it just gets more dense with the axe throwing outfits that are out there. And not all of them serve alcohol, but a majority of them do. And that's where we got the 1 drink per hour in our research, was from the success of some of these others and how they kind of ran it, because it was a concern of ours as well.
Other questions? Councilor Erickson.
Not a question, a statement, but one of the things I just want to point out to the council too, that this can be, depending on where you all stand, if you're a little uneasy and want to, play it out, let it go for the first year, make sure that he's following the rules, things of that nature, that we can revisit this at renewal as well, as we have with many other licenses. So just throwing that out there for thought.
Councilor Staley.
Well, so you were going to renew it, and then what do you say? I mean, let's say there's a problem. Well, I mean, we say it's not a suitable person, or it sounds like we can, some people are saying we can never say suitable location. That could never be part of the criteria. So I'm personally very uncomfortable with this, okay? So if it's a location that has axe throwing, to me, that's a problematic location for mixing any alcohol with it. Right or wrong, that's
Yep,
kind of...
and I respect that. If I could, though, dart leagues have been around forever. They use steel tips. They have no cage barriers within those. People are walking freely back and forth in those
I understand.
lanes.
I'd rather be hit by a dart than a hatchet.
Fair enough.
Other questions for the applicant? If not, there's a motion.
I want to make a statement. I'm done asking
Floor is
questions.
yours.
I want to make sure everybody else is done. I made the motion to approve because we normally handle these things in an affirmative action. And I'm going to vote against it. I vote first in that part of it. I just, we didn't want people to have beer in a theater, and we made the argument that it was a security issue in going through that process. This takes it a step further, and to be consistent, I don't know how I go back to the theater owner and say that it was okay to go with an axe league and allow alcohol and that be a suitable location for that. So more than anything, I'm saying that because I did make the motion, I'm still going to vote against it as a way to handle it in the affirmative is how we handle these issues. The other thing that I think Councilor Erickson makes a really good point about taking a look at this at renewal. Renewal becomes really difficult to have a reason to not renew their license. It's a different standard that when we don't do renewals. is my understanding of the process. And it's a lot harder to take something away later than it is in this initial stage. We have a lot more power as a governing body in the initial application than we do to come back later and try to take it away or try to adjust that. We see that all the time. We argue how applicants have failed alcohol stings and they come before us and it's a suggestion to the state. And I mean, it's a whole different thing to take a look at it. And I want to be as progressive as the next person, but I'm struggling with this, so.
Councilor Neitzer.
Thanks. I'll just say for my part, I personally don't necessarily see the tie-in or the analogy between the movie theater issue and then this. This would have to do with whether or not adults can conduct themselves safely versus the issue of the minors and the alcohol. And I think the security plan is reasonable. It's still kind of out there, but it's just new to the community. And your point did hit home. I can think of, thinking of at a bar, people throwing the steel darts, and they've obviously been drinking a lot of, obviously axes and darts, two different things, I get that, but, and I think they do have a track record, so I'd be willing to give them a shot.
Councilor Erickson.
Thank you. And Councilor Neitzer stole the words out of my mouth that the security plan for the mall was less than stellar, in my opinion, and we've had conversations to ask that to be tightened up. It's a much different business, and you're not comparing it as far as I'm concerned. With the renewal, we do have the power. We can say suitable person, suitable location. It's not always done. It's difficult to do, but we do have that right. This is a business that isn't just new to Sioux Falls. This has been around for quite a long time. It's not just us being innovative here in South Dakota, but there is a proven track record. You've done your homework. I do see, darts, a little different, pool sticks, a little different, but people are generally drinking a little bit more than the 2-drink minimum for that. So for that, I am willing to give you a shot, and I think you hear that we're going to hold you to a high standard.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? If not, there's a motion on the table that I need to vote on, please.
Councilmembers Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
No.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That is passed 7-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 27, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located south of West 26th Street and west of South Elmwood Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the S1 General Institutional District, petition number 8534-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
Jason Bieber, representing Planning and Development Services. This is an application by Richard DeSanto for Lifescape. Staff is requesting that this application be remanded back to the August 8th Planning Commission. And then at that time, there would be a condition placed on this rezoning to allow parking on these parcels only.
Thanks, Jason. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion on that.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to remand this item 27 back to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilor Sale, seconded by Councilor Kiley. Discussion amongst the council. Councilor Staley.
I just wanted to make a mention that last Wednesday, the neighborhood and Lifescapes had a meeting, and Councilor Neisert went, and Councilor Sale was there. And it was such a wonderful meeting. It was such a wonderful meeting because these people wanted to be heard. Lifescape wanted to listen. And they were so grateful that the three of us showed up. And Councilor Neisert gave his input because he's the zoning guru to talk about what we can do and can't do. And we talked about some options. And then Councilor Sale took it upon himself to meet with Lifescape and offer this provision that the parking lot will never be used for anything except parking. And I think it helped to reassure these neighbors because it was happening. We weren't going to go backwards from that. We all accepted that. But it really, I left there feeling such great peace that this was really how things are supposed to work. and we need to listen to one another and come together. And as counselors, it does matter when we show up. More and more, I'm finding out that when you go to these things, the public really appreciates us being there and listening. So thank you for your efforts to bring this together. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Counselor. Other discussion or comments? If not, I'd ask for a roll call vote on that motion to remand, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 28.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations. Highways and streets, $900,000. Parks, $800,000.
Welcome, Erica.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I presented a pretty lengthy report on this last week on Tuesday, but I just want to highlight a few things as well moving forwards and then answer any questions that you might have. Again, this is for the 2017 sales and use tax surplus funding. The proposal that was brought forward by the administration was split up into two sections, one highways and streets, the other for parks. There is $900,000 identified specifically for highways and streets. That consists of $800,000 for the construction of public infrastructure at the USD Discovery District. That also consists of $100,000 for Minnesota Avenue improvements from 7th Street to 10th Street, including asphalt overlay and ADA ramp repairs. The section for parks includes two projects as well, totaling $800,000. The first is $500,000 for tree removal equipment for the emerald ash borer response, as well as $300,000 for Falls Park improvements, including platforms, accessible pathways, and code-compliant railing. And then again, just to remind everyone where these improvements are, again, the first for the Discovery District is identified and highlighted in yellow on this site plan. The second for Minnesota Avenue improvements from 7th Street to 10th Street would include these 2.5 to 3 blocks. The emerald ash borer equipment is specific to what Kelby and Don's team have presented to you in the past as far as the grapple saw that is needed to remove the trees. And then this last exhibit is specific to the Falls Park improvements, and this highlights, again, the viewing platforms, the ADA compliant sidewalks and accessible pathways, as well as the code compliant railing that is highlighted in black on this exhibit. Be more than happy to answer any questions that this group has in regards to this request.
Thanks, Erica. Before that, I'd ask if there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this.
Bruce Danielson. Kind of glad that's left up here because I sent all of you an email recently concerning the event that happened on 4th of July out at the falls. We're going in and we're putting in this grandiose plan for concrete, once again, to go into a park. The public hasn't been brought into this at all. This is another park plan that was done in a back room somewhere in the rush of the moment without bringing the ADA people, the handicapped people, the young people, the families into this process so that we can have a piece of the action. In other words, we want to be able to talk about these things and get things fixed. Sure, it's nice to have some safety put into the process, but it's a rush to judgment. There's no hurry for this project at all. There's nothing in any of this that says we have to do this right now. I made a suggestion in the email I sent all of you. It says, why don't we have a meeting out there in this area and show these in the town what we're trying to do? Get other ideas from all of these 175,000 people that live here. Maybe 20 people would show up. Maybe 30 people would show up. I don't know, maybe 1,000 people would show up. I don't know. But we should be able to be part of this process because this is going to be something that changes this park forever. It's not going to go back to the way it was. We're going to be making some changes. We're going to be getting into the bedrock. You know, these are things that we need to be looking at. And I'm seeing this as a situation where people are running, being afraid that something else might happen, and we have to do something, or gosh, something terrible might happen. Let's go in here and look at this thing. This town's got a lot of grown-up people that know how to look at this, and we have a lot of kids that want to be able to say, yeah, that makes sense. We changed things up at Terrace Park because there was some good ideas that were going to be presented for Terrace Park, but there were a lot of stupid ideas that were going to be done with Terrace Park. The public got involved. We stopped the Terrace Park fiasco, and it's going to have to get redrawn. I see the same thing here. This is a rush to a judgment that nobody knows anything about. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Other comments on this item?
Stephen Ciano. I essentially agree with Bruce. I grew up climbing everything imaginable. I recall going by the Bell Parkway on a bike path. There was a rail that I climbed over at 12 years old and went down onto the rocks by the bay. And certainly I ran a risk of doing that, but I had the wherewithal to know my limitations. And with younger children than that, just a barrier to let them know might be adequate, or signage to allow parents to know and keep track of their children if there's a dangerous situation created, as if the parents don't know already. That's what I have to
Thanks,
contribute.
Stephen.
Tim Stanga. I guess it all comes down to common sense. When I went down there with my mom and dad, they watched me. They knew where we were at, and they told us not to go by the water. I guess the question is, are we just going for it for the looks, or are we trying to save people? We can put up a 10-foot fence around this, and people are either going to go underneath it or crawl over top of it to get in the water. I just don't see what that's going to do for saving people. The sad part about it is we have employers in this town that are trying to find workers that are, how do you want to say it, able to work, able to be trained, so they can get good employees. I would like to see us take some of this money, talk to employers, and to be able to work on some kind of a community, how do you want to say it, training program, to be able to train people for the help that the people need out here. I talk to contractors, I talk to everybody out here. They can't find people to work, but there's a lot of people that need work. And if we came out and we took this money, we thought about this a little bit longer, and we really realized that we think about the people of Sioux Falls, or we think about the looks. It's all about the looks. That's one thing I found out about this town lately, because it isn't about the people anymore. Sioux Falls used to be here for the people. Now I look at, it's all about how do we look? How do we look amongst people? We're first in this and first in that, and we're doing great in this, we do great in this, but yet nobody brings up on how people live, how many jobs people have. I'd just like to see be able to come up, look at this project a little bit differently, be able to use this money towards training people for better jobs, to be able to help our employers be able to get quality employees so that everybody can grow. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Sierra Brissa, Sioux Falls. So the mayor had said on the news media here that people are going to do that regardless of signs. Sometimes we're going to continue to look at, do we have the right signs, do we have the right message in the right places? But it goes back to the bottom line, no matter how much signage you have, how many platforms you have. The Falls is a dangerous place, and people need to continue to recognize that. So, having said that, we cannot spend all this money on people with no common sense. Those deaths that happened, God forgive me for saying this, it might be cold-hearted, but you don't let your kids by the falls. It's common sense. You're going to drown. Those team members from Wisconsin shouldn't have been out there and got stuck for no common sense. The fire department shouldn't have even said what he said on KSFY either. It's common sense. How many taxpayers are we paying to rescue people out of the river? So you put a signage right there by the water, by the rocks, that says do not swim and no boating. I think that putting up this is a cosmetic issue because y'all want it to look good because it's a tourist attraction. Here we go back to the rich people and not the average citizen. So I agree with Mayor Tinhaken when you said this, Mayor, but you said it was a dangerous place, but I think that you need to go back and study it more before spending all this money for a cosmetic issue, because this is not going to stop people from doing what they want to do here. It's just common sense. So when you look at the falls, what's the first thing? You look at that river, you look at that water, because it's an attraction. So therefore, why don't you put signs by that deep water so when they go there, they see that sign there, okay? But the parents have to look out for their kids, because if we have too many more accidents, then let social services handle it. On your kids. Those kids shouldn't even be down by that water, first off. If you put a fence down there, what are they going to do? Climb it. I mean, come on now. This is not a wall for Border Patrol, and it's going to not be a wall to keep children and people without common sense out of water either, okay? So the wall for the border is bizarre, just like this is bizarre to put a fence up. Common sense. Would you let your kids down by the falls, by the park, on the rocks, by the water? No. Why? Because they're going to drown. So if there was a liability issue and someone come to sue the city, they sure wouldn't win in court. Why? Because there is proper signs and liability signs that say do not swim, do not boat, etc. in the park. So I am very agitated because I think that this is a cosmetic issue for the rich people to come in and look at the falls. Thank you.
Thank you. And any other public input on this? Questions for staff? Eric on this. Councilor Neitzer.
Look, I'm not under any illusion that anything we do is going to guarantee safety. I mean, obviously, there are no guarantees in life, but this is a prime viewing location near the falls. We know it's a draw. So we're just simply adding an amenity that, of course, anybody can climb anything. It's not going, there's no guarantees, but people are going down there and they're looking at the falls. So we're going to put in something very nice. It'd be an asset to the park. That park is transformed. And I was just at the falls recently, and I assure you there is a lot more than just rich people at the falls. So I think it would be a beautiful addition, and as far as the study, this has been looked at for years. I don't know anything else in the city that has been looked at more times by our experts than this, and so, I'm comfortable moving forward.
Councilor Staley.
Point of order. Do we need a motion? Point of order. Do we need a motion before we do discussion?
We do, unless anyone has questions for staff. Does anyone have questions for Erica directly? Okay.
I did want to, just to clarify something, and then if you, just to clarify for our viewing audience here, that this money that's being appropriated is coming out of a capital fund, so it cannot be used for salaries for staff.
That's correct.
That's right. So, I mean, just the idea that, we may want to use that to hire people or something. We are limited. It has to be a tangible purchase.
Correct, a capital project, capital expense.
And I have some comments, but I'll wait till we, okay.
Well, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
Move to approve Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
Moved to approve by Erickson and seconded by Councilor Kiley. Discussion amongst the council. Councilor Brecky.
Question for Councilor Sale and Kiley, because they had announced via email today that they're interested in doing a safety audit. And one of my questions that I've had about this issue is that's been persuasive to me in the discussion of it is, are we getting ahead of ourselves if we're going to do a safety audit and kind of look at any other risks that need to be addressed out there? Should we be waiting with this? Maybe, are there other risks, that are as dangerous as this one? And so I'm just asking you guys, are you comfortable, that we're doing this in the right order? Because you guys are, going to want to look into these other things. Would you be more comfortable with it if we waited, or are you comfortable that we can go ahead with this phase and then just continue to look at the risks?
Councilor Sale, if I may. Councilor Brecky, thank you very much for the question. I think it's a fair question, and yes, I am comfortable. This is one of actually 5 recommendations that came forward, so we're just simply acting on this recommendation, and then I'm hopeful that we can bring forward one of the other recommendations, and that is having another set of eyes take a look at the safety aspects of the falls. To the degree that are we getting ahead of ourselves, we have some very fine safety individuals and safety experts that are employed within the city of Sioux Falls, and I have a lot of faith in them on this particular item because it has come out as a recommendation, and because I just feel that it is prudent in terms of going forward with an outside study, that at this point in time it would also be prudent to have another set of fresh eyes take a look at it too. But I am very comfortable moving forward with this item this evening.
Well, Councilor Sale first. Did you have some input?
Yes, actually, I'd like to address each one of these items, if I could, and make a statement.
You bet.
The largest one that we're going to vote on is the USD Discovery District. I will tell you, it's the most exciting thing that I've got to participate in the 3 months that I've been here. This is going to bring a lot of good-paying jobs. Now, we're concentrating on some of the other things, but that's one of the things we're going to vote on. I'm excited for that. The second thing on our list is the Minnesota Avenue improvements. Who doesn't want our streets fixed? And when our street department says, hey, that is the priority right now, let's go ahead and get that done. The $500,000 for the tree removal and ash boards, I see signs in this city, Tree City, USA. Where would we be without our ash trees and our Parks Department to take care of them? So I'm all for that. And the last of the 4 things that we're going to talk about, and it seems to be grabbing all the attention, is the Falls Park safety improvements. I've been in the water after those kids. This is emotional to me. If 6 months from now somebody else goes in there and we haven't done something, how are we going to sleep with ourselves? How are you going to go to bed? Let's do what our safety experts say we can. I want to join with Councilor Kiley to then ask for an audit so we can pursue better measures. I know the parents get a bad rap. I don't know how to teach common sense to somebody else's kids. So I say, let's move forward with this. Let's do the best we can with what we've got right now, and we'll go forward with the safety audit later. Thank you.
Councilor Sale, thank you. Councilor Staley.
Well, I've been, of course, talking about an independent safety study for since April. And Councilor Starr and I have both been saying that, talking about this, and in fact, we made an appointment several weeks ago to meet with David Fifley, our city attorney. We took a staff member with us. Excuse me, he's not the city attorney, he was, but now David is the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance coordinator, executive director. So when we had this discussion initially, when they came and gave us this presentation, they were telling us that it was going to cost about $15,000 to do an independent study. And I got some feedback from my colleagues that was too much money. And so Councilor Starr and I went in to meet with David Fifley today because we wanted to say, is there any chance that your organization, since you insure our city, would be willing to pay for some of that, the cost of that? Because I'm not sure where you two are going to get the money from for that. But we wanted him to get his input. He was very affirming today about having a third party look at this. We talked about some people who have done it. And also, in the midst of this conversation, we're talking about ordinances. And I've got to check into this, but I don't think we have an ordinance that, I think the Game Fish and Parks prohibit swimming, but I don't know that we have a city ordinance that says you can't swim at the falls. And also, I've talked with some firefighters, Jeff Winters to be specific, who have said, gee, we would love to have some kind of an ordinance that says you cannot get within a certain feet of the rocks, because we have to go out there and save these people. Now, I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know if we can do that, and I know some people don't want to be prohibited, but I agree with Councilor Sale. We need to do something here. I would have preferred to do the safety study first, but as it seems, the train is moving very quickly into the platform venue, so I'm going to vote for that tonight. But I think I'm glad that I just found out that Councilor Kiley was doing this last night. Councilor Starr and I had already been going down this path. We got two energies happening. It'd be nice to converge and collaborate on that. But I want to say, I appreciated this citizens' input. I think we need to have big orange signs down right at the water's edge. And that Lowhead Dam is so problematic, and we saw KSFY last night, our mayor was on, and they interviewed the mayor of Baltic, who had lost a person in their Lowhead Dam, and the Game Fish and Park said, let's get a big orange sign, caution, danger, right there. And so we say, swimming prohibited, fines imposed, city ordinance prohibits this, whatever we come up with, we need to be talking about this. And I think that the foam thing is being addressed here, and I appreciate, I've said it before, that our mayor has stepped up and taken some action. Now, one other issue I want to say, I said this before, I'll say it again, then I'll say it again, and then I'll say it another time. But we got the emerald ash tree borer coming on, and because of that, we have halted Project Trim this year from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So this is not with the capital thing. We're doing the capital $500,000 to jerk the tree out of the ground. But we're talking about hiring a new forestry supervisor and more employees. So I just think we need to be creative, and we need to find ways to implement tree trimming on the boulevards for our citizens without putting that cost of Project Trim on them, which is a minimum cost of $150. For those poor elderly people, people on fixed incomes are forced to pay astronomical prices to trim the trees that belong to the city. So this is going to be a great time to open that conversation up. I've been saying this for years. I will continue to say it, and that's all I have to say now.
Thank you, Councilor Staley. Councilor Starr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move to amend by reducing the park's allotment from $800,000 to $500,000.
Okay, there's a motion for an amendment. Is there a second for that? All right, that amendment fails for lack of a second.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Then I want to concur that with Councilor Sale, we're doing some really amazing things, and we've gotten, one part of this has taken a lot of the public discussion over the last week, and I'll agree with you 100% that what we're doing at the USD Discovery District is going from a alfalfa field to a research park that we have in Sioux Falls, and it's an amazing opportunity for our community to grow economically and provide health solutions to the world. Some of the things that the two companies that will be expanding into the research park are doing things that will literally change our world, that will find cures for diseases, as well as provide jobs for people in our community and around the world. And the Falls Park part of this is an awesome part of the discussion as well. And I agree that that's it took up a lot of, sucked up the oxygen in the room, but the other two parts of this really have been remarkable. I would have liked to seen us hold off on the Falls Park and maybe look at doing some more roads as we prioritize capital things. I don't think, when I've talked about Falls Park with people, we talked a lot, everyone has a solution or something that would make it better or some way, including the people who did Mr. Moore, who did the report for us as well. But I'd have liked to seen us focus on the Lowhead Dam part of it. And when we look at the 5 recommendations, I'm not sure that putting up a fence and a viewing platform is the thing that I hear from people all the time, that you can't fence off the falls. Where do you start a fence? Where do you end a fence? Who goes around the end of it or over it or through it? So we've moved past that. And I'm excited to see that Minnesota Avenue and those few blocks are going to be a lot better. Drove it myself this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to it being improved as well. So I'm going to be voting to support this now.
Great. Councilor Erickson.
Thank you. I just want to say me too on a lot of the same comments that have been made. 6 years ago, the state of South Dakota gave, the legislature gave $1 million for one-time funds for the USD Discovery District. It's really controversial. It was really not a slam dunk deal. We had to work really hard to secure those votes based on what other communities did and all the municipalities that also matched those funds. And so councils before, few councils before this saw that as a priority and saw the USD Discovery District as a priority. And every budget season, we fought like mad to get $150,000 funding for that. So today we get to make that step really forward. Today we get to say, we want to partner with you. We want to partner with the state. This is a great time for us to see the long-term vision. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You're not going to see the return of investment tomorrow. You're like you would a curb and gutter put in. But this is long-term planning for our community. And for someone with younger children having educational opportunities and job opportunities, it's a big deal for us. So while I focus on one area, thank you for the package. This is possible also because the council before kind of put the brakes on while we were talking about refinancing some of the bond and paying down some of that. We wanted to prioritize ourselves and have a say in that, and today we get to do that, and that is the budgetary authority that this council has. So thank you for the priorities that the administration brought forward and for us weighing in, and I support this motion as well, so thank you.
There's a motion on the table. Is there any other discussion on that? If not, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 29.
Second reading, an ordinance approving the annual rate increase pursuant to the franchise agreement for ground ambulance service for the city of Sioux Falls with Paramedics Logistics South Dakota LLC.
Hi, Jill.
Good evening. Jill Franken, Public Health Director with the City of Sioux Falls. The agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and Paramedics Plus does stipulate how ambulance service rates or fees will be set, and specifies that the annual rate increase will be the greater of the Consumer Price Index, which was 2.8% for the year ending May 2018, or 3%, whichever is greater. The REMSA board has reported to you that Paramedics Plus has met their contract requirements for the past contract year, and they support your approval of an ambulance service rate increase of 3%. Mike Bureau, the COO for Paramedics Plus, is here tonight, as well as myself. So there's second reading tonight.
Thank you, Jill. Before we hear from questions for you, anyone from the public wish to speak on this? If not, any questions for Jill?
Move approval, Nitzert.
Second, Kiley.
Okay, move to approve by Nitzert, seconded by Kiley. Discussion on the council on this. Councilor Staley.
Well, Director Franken, let me say I always appreciate your responsiveness. You always get back to us in such a timely way. And last week I had asked Paramedics Plus to give us a breakdown of how people are paying for their ambulance service. And so I just wanted to state these facts that, because it was interesting to me, but of the total people, insured people are paying with insurance 17% of the time, 17% of the population. Medicaid takes up 12%. Medicare is 40%, and then the private pay patient is 31%. However, what I'm seeing here is that 86% of that 31% they're being written off as bad debt. So most of the people, I'm taking it, most of the people who are using the ambulance have some sort of supplement helping them pay for that ambulance ride. So I just appreciated you giving me that information.
Thank you, Councilor Staley. Any other discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Starr.
if I could, Director Franken, or this is probably a question for Mr. Bureau more than anything. Councilor Staley got some really great answers, and I appreciate you putting those numbers together for us. But the next step to that is, what does 3% mean? Is it $1,000, $100,000? I mean, give me a rough idea when you broke out, 30% you're not being reimbursed for. Give me an idea of what 3% means to the average citizen, or what it means total to overall in additional fees being raised.
Well, from our side, it's difficult to say. Payer mixes move, so that's not the same payer mix that you would have seen last year. As there's a reason why the RFP is a contingency for a change or significant change to payer mix, is because we realize that can happen in any community. We saw that all over the country when we had the housing crisis. We saw a huge shift nationally in payer mixes. So overall, I think at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is, what does it mean to the average citizen in Sioux Falls, being that this is based on user fees, and I would say it's exactly what that 3% is in the rate in front of you today as proposed. I mean, that's really the difference. So what an insurer decides to do, whether Medicare or Medicaid decide to shift the way they do payment, those things are difficult to say. The only thing I'd say for certain is the rates you have there will be the rates going forward for this year.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mike? All right, if not, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 29.
Move to approve item 29.
We did?
Councilmembers Nitzert and Kylie.
Sorry. Good job. I would ask if there's any further discussion. If not, a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That's approved 8-0. Next, item 30.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 30. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 1240 and 1240 East 21st Street from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, number 8743-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Kenneth Freer. It's located at 1240 and 1246 East 21st Street, just east of South Cliff Avenue. It's roughly 2 lots with a total size of 0.19 acres. The purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing 2 new single-family houses, one on 1240 and then one on 1246. Each of these lots are less than that 50 feet wide, so therefore he has to rezone to that traditional district.
Questions for Jason? If not, I'd ask for a motion to set a date of hearing for a second reading for August 7 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second, Selberg.
Moved by Kylie, seconded by Selberg. Any discussion? If not, vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That's passed 8-0. Item 31.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 31. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 7201 South Cliff Avenue from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood Streetcar District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 8731-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0 with the following condition: maximum building size of 35,000 square feet.
The applicant and owner here is Joel Engel with C. Lemmy Companies. It's located north of East 85th Street and west of South Cliff Avenue. It's roughly 3.1 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing a roughly 32,000 square foot indoor gymnastics facility. Staff is requesting the condition to allow a maximum square foot in the RE4 form at 35,000 square feet. With this condition, then staff does feel that this request generally does meet the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan.
Questions for Jason, council? If not, I'd ask for a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7 at 7 p.m. for this item.
So moved.
Moved by Kylie, seconded by Councilor Sale. Any other discussion on this? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
As passed 8-0. Item 32.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 32. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located west of North Marion Road and south of West 54th Street North from the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban Districts, number 8720-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Steve Van Buskirk. It's located at the southwest corner of North Marion Road and West 54th Street North. It's roughly 7.76 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking to construct some future single family and also some twin home units up here.
Questions for Jason, council? If not, I'd ask for a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7 for this item.
So moved, Nitzert. Second, Selberg.
By Nitzert, second by Selberg. Any other discussion? If not, a roll call vote on this, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 33.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 33. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located north of East 69th Street and west of South Greystone Avenue from the CN Conservation District to the REC Recreation District, number 8691-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Lloyd Companies. It's roughly 0.45 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing a small dog park as well as some picnic shelter facilities for the existing apartments and townhomes in the area.
Questions for Jason on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7.
So moved, Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
Moved by Erickson, seconded by Councilor Kylie. Any discussion? If not, a roll call vote on this, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That item passes 8-0. Item 34.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 34. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located at the northwest corner of South Highline Avenue and East Arrowhead Parkway from the MH Manufactured Residential Housing and C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar Districts to the CN Conservation District, number 8690-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is the City of Sioux Falls. It's located just west of the East Side Menards. It's roughly 4.24 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is to match the correct zoning with the current use of this property, which is a city detention pond and drainage area.
Questions for Jason? Councilor Staley.
So, yeah, I know we were contacted by citizens who lived over in that area. They saw these notices up. So this is doing nothing to change anything except change this.
Yeah, correct. As we have summer interns, we've been having them go around and change and correct the zoning for about 50 detention ponds within the City of Sioux Falls. We're just trying to get those all zone conservation. That zoning district is what allows these detention pond and natural drainage facilities.
So, and I see that, like this one, how could it have ever been zoned as a single family when it was a detention pond?
Well, a lot of the times, the reason why these are zoned incorrectly is a developer comes in and builds a large subdivision. As that subdivision gets built out, it's all zoned single family. And once it gets built out, then these drainage areas and detention ponds are then conveyed to the city after the development is constructed. So that's why a lot of times they're zoned incorrectly.
And just for my information, are these detention ponds created within the development then? I mean, are they were, you study it and you say, well, the drainage is going to be a problem? So
Yeah, they're all part of these big developments. That's where the drainage all runs to, so.
So they were done right as this thing was happening?
As the development
They don't get
is being
done as an afterthought?
Yeah, they do them as part of the development, and then as an afterthought of the development being constructed, then they're conveyed to the city or given to the city.
Thank you.
Other questions for Jason? If not, can I get a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7 for this item?
So moved, Erickson.
Second.
Moved by Erickson, seconded by Kylie. Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Item 35.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 35. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southeast corner of East Broken Arrow Street and North Bonson Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District, number 8689-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
This is also an application and owner by the City of Sioux Falls. It's located on North Bonson Avenue and East Broken Arrow Street. It's roughly 9.5 acres in size. This is a similar request, as the last one. It's an existing detention and drainage area, so we're just correcting the zoning to conservation.
Questions for Jason?
Move to set the date to Tuesday, August 7th for second reading.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Sale. Any further discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Item 36.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 36. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the northwest corner of Southwest Port Avenue and West 10th Street from the C3 Commercial Community District to the CN Conservation District, number 8687-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
We are also the applicant and owner of this request. This is located northwest of the old Kmart site. This one is roughly 4.6 acres, similar as the other two. We're just looking at rezoning this to CN for the existing detention pond and drainage area back there.
Okay. Questions? Yes, Councilor Starr.
Jason, these have been great. Do you think to enhance the internship experience that maybe your intern would be willing to present number 38?
We could definitely have her do that. We also have some that are going to be coming next month, so maybe we can get her on next month.
Give her a little more notice till we do it.
Then we can get her ready.
Perfect.
Break
I'm
her
a
in a
big
little bit
believer
more.
in internships, and this is definitely part of the experience. You've grown in the 2 years I've been here, and I know at the beginning it was a little interesting by the time we're done, so maybe not put her on the spot, but maybe have her prepare for next month.
We will definitely have her do one next month.
Perfect.
Great. Great idea. Can I get a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7 for this item?
So moved, Erickson.
Second, Selberg.
Moved by Erickson, seconded by Selberg. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 37.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 37. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southwest corner of East 41st Street and South Southeastern Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District, number 8686-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
This is also an application by the City of Sioux Falls, and we are the owner. It's located west of Southeastern Avenue and south of East 41st Street. This one's just under 6 acres, and similar to the other ones, we're just looking to rezone those natural drainage facility and detention pond to the Conservation District.
Questions for Jason? If not, can I have a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for August 7th for this item?
So moved, Erickson.
Second.
Moved by Erickson, seconded by Councilor Sale. Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That item passes 8-0. Next item.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 38. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located at the southeast corner of East 6th Street and North Cleveland Avenue from the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District to the CN Conservation District number 8685-2018 and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
This is our final detention pond. The owner applicant, City of Sioux Falls. This is located at the northeast corner of 6th Street and Cleveland Avenue. This one is about 10.5 acres in size, and similar to the other ones, we're just looking at getting the conservation district for the current detention and drainage area.
Councilor Erickson.
I know that the intern has done a lot of work, and so maybe it's just appropriate that she could maybe introduce herself. I think that
Sure.
she's worked extensively hard on these. She has a ton more coming, and this is a great way for us to get caught up over the summertime. It just provides another service that we can make sure that our maps are what they say they are, so when somebody looks at the map, they can say, oh yeah, that is actually a detention pond, instead of seeing that it's C2 on something and not knowing what's going to go next to your house someday. I think it will help as this property, or as our city develops as well. So I got to meet you on Friday, but maybe if you could just introduce yourself, and we'll see you again next week. So
Welcome.
we're on the spot, right?
Hi. My name is Maggie Squire. I recently graduated from the University of South Dakota in December. My degree is in sustainability and political science. So I think part of the reason they threw detention ponds on me is because it's a natural process, but also I just had the experience making maps, and like they said, it's a job that's easy for me to take off the hands of the urban planners. So I'm happy to do it, and thanks for giving me a job.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here,
Thanks for
Maggie.
being here. Can I get a motion to set a date of hearing, second reading for August 7th for this item?
So moved, Erickson.
Second, Nitzert.
Moved by Erickson, seconded by Nitzert. Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That's passed 8-0. Item 39.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 39. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 401 South Joliet Avenue from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the S1 General Institutional District, number 8684-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Eric Wildson. The owner is Marvin Tripp. This is located north of East Arrowhead Parkway and west of South Foss Avenue. It's about 1.5 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is, as you saw, I think 2 months ago, we rezoned the parcel to the north. They now are going to rezone this parcel, then combine it to the north and construct that indoor recreation facility with the climbing wall. I think the project's gotten a little bit bigger as they've gone on their design, so they needed to include this additional property. That's what they're looking at doing on here.
Questions for Jason? If not, can I get a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for August 7th for this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kylie, seconded by Sale. Any discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 40.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, August 7, 2018 at 7 p.m. for item 40. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southeast corner of South Louise Avenue and West 95th Street from the AG Agriculture District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District number 8749-2018, and amending the official zoning map of the city of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Ron Nelson. This is located at the southeast corner of South Louise Avenue and West 95th Street. It's just over 18 acres. This is a property that we annexed in, I believe, about a month ago. The purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing a future church on the west side of this property.
Counselor Starr.
Yes, Jason, do we normally zone churches as RS? Is that kind of where we head with this, or what do we normally?
It really, good question. It really depends on the size. If they're under 2 stories and I believe it's 20,000 square feet, then we would zone them RS. They're allowed to go in residential zone districts as long as they're on our arterial or collector, which South Louise Avenue is. So,
which is kind of normal for churches, isn't it? That they would be in a neighborhood and they become a staple of the neighborhood. So,
yep. Some of the larger ones, then we have to go more to the general institutional district to allow them to be a little bit taller. So,
thank you.
Other questions for Jason on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for August 7 for item 40.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Brecky, seconded by Sale. Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 41.
A resolution vacating the South Elmwood Avenue right-of-way from the south right-of-way line of West 26th Street to the north right-of-way line of West 28th Street.
Good evening. Chad Hebe with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This item is associated with item 27, and based on the action tonight, I am requesting that this item be withdrawn. We will bring it back when the rezoning comes back to this body.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'd move to withdraw item 41.
Second, Staley.
Okay, motion by Starr, seconded by Staley. Any discussion on this? If not, a roll call vote on the motion to withdraw this item, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 42.
A resolution amending the 2018-2022 capital program. Public Works, Highways and Streets, $900,000. Parks, $800,000.
Good evening, Erica Beck. This is a resolution amending our current capital program to allow for the vote and the spending of the appropriation within the vote that you just took in item 28.
All right, any questions on that? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve that item.
So moved.
Second, Selberg.
Motion, yeah, I didn't ask for public input, so can I back that up? Can I keep the motion? Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Is there any public input on that? Okay, seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote on that motion, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 43.
A resolution authorizing the City of Sioux Falls to gift 4 Stockyard street signs to Stockyards Plaza Incorporated, doing business as Stockyards Ag Experience.
Good evening again. When the Stockyards closed in 2009, these 4 signs were taken down off of our street network and were recently uncovered out at this traffic maintenance shop during some cleaning. The signs have an approximate recycling value of $40, and the Stockyards Ag Experiences is interested in adding these to their collection.
Thanks, Chad. Questions for Chad on this? Anyone from the public wish to comment on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 43.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Staley, seconded by Councilor Kylie. Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That's passed 8-0. Item 44.
A resolution approving the release of permanent easements located in that part of vacated Dakota Avenue lying adjacent to lots 14 through 18, Block 20 and lots 1 through 5, Block 29, Brookings and Edmonds addition to Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
This easement is south of 4th Street in the previously vacated Dakota Avenue, which is just east of the current jail. No facilities are located in this portion of the easement, and the easement is no longer needed. The easement area will be used in the expansion of the jail.
Thanks, Chad. Any questions for Chad? Anyone from the public wish to comment on this item? If not, I'd ask for motion to approve item 44.
Move approval.
Second.
Move
Kylie.
approval, Selberg, seconded by Kylie. Any further discussion? A roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 45.
A resolution approving the release of part of a declaration of right-of-way easement located in Lot 6, Block 10 of Silver Valley Addition to the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
This easement is on the south side of Dunham Park between Sertoma Avenue and Marion Road. It was established in 1986 as a potential access to the park. The adjacent property has requested a small portion of this easement be released to facilitate the construction of addition on their house. Parks and Recreation has reviewed the request and supports its release.
Okay. Questions for Chad? Okay. Seeing none, anyone from the public wish to speak on this? All right, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 45.
So move Staley.
Second, Nitzert.
Moved by Staley, seconded by Nitzert. Any discussion? If not, a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 46.
A resolution declaring certain real property of the city surplus and authorizing the listing thereof.
Good evening, I'm Mike Cooper, representing Planning and Development Services, and I was an intern at one time, too. What I would like to do tonight is give a brief explanation of this issue, and I will be asking the council to consider a motion to defer. This came to city staff by representatives of Green Acre Companies located at Shriver Square. This is known as the Huey Building, which is located on the east side of Phillips Avenue between 8th and 9th Streets. There's a proposal to acquire this building from the current owner and to go through an extensive redevelopment of this building that's currently multifamily and office, and the new use would continue to be a mixed use of retail and residential development. As part of the discussion with staff, the area that's shown in this exhibit in yellow goes back to the urban renewal days of the 1970s when this property developed into the Huey Apartments. And that area is 35 feet wide by 110 feet long, and it only extends up into the air 12 and a half feet. And so the city owns this parcel of land. It also includes a perpetual access easement to both the Huey building as well as to the building to the north, which is now known as Equity Square. As part of our discussion with the folks from Green Acre Companies, it was their intent to pursue acquisition of this parcel of land that would extend down to the ground, that would allow them to enlarge the size of the Huey building towards the alley on the east side. Their plan would also include a brand new facade along the Phillips Avenue frontage. So the first step in a process like this would be to declare it surplus. The city would then advertise for proposals or for bids, and then a recommendation would be coming back to the council that would require a first and second reading to actually approve the sale of this parcel of land. Since the item was put on the agenda, we've had a number of calls, comments, emails, as well as I know council members from surrounding properties asking a lot of questions about this proposal. And because of those questions that we're getting from surrounding property owners as well as council members. What we would like to do is request that this be deferred to the August 7th council meeting, and that would give staff a chance to weigh in a little bit more on the questions that are coming from the property owners, as well as the applicant or the persons that are requesting this property to go forward, as well as council members. And I kind of compare this with when we get involved with a land use decision that has some maybe complicated issues that we would like to just take a step back and try to spend a little bit more time with all the interested parties. So that's what we'll be asking for you to consider tonight, as a motion to defer this. And I know there's some very patient people sitting in the audience that I've indicated that that would be the request that staff would be making tonight. So with that, I'll see if you have any questions.
Thanks, Mike. Councilor Staley.
I have two things. When you say it's a small area reserved for access, what does that mean?
It's reserved for vehicular access to the back of the Huey building and to the Equity Square building.
So that's not going to block traffic coming down that alley?
Yeah, the alley is still there. And I will say that I know one of the questions that has come up is that if this property is sold, would that easement retain? And it would be retained with the property. But again, that gets into a lot of the detail that I think we can try to hash out between now and August 7th.
Well, and if I don't know if the people who emailed us today are here, but I will say to the public, when we have meetings, we start at 4 o'clock. We start at 1 o'clock today. I got 2 emails at like 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, people telling me they have a problem with this. And I'm just going to say to the public, that's a little bit too late. I mean, you're wanting to defer this thing anyway, but if you want to get our attention and talk to us, do not do it an hour before the meeting starts. Wherever you are, whoever those people are, that we need a little more lead time to investigate and to speak to you.
But we're comfortable with the recommendation to defer.
Councilor Neitzer.
And I can help you a little bit with this, Councilor Staley, and it is a good point taken. I did get a call from, or actually a text from an attorney I know at Cutler Law Firm, and I ended up meeting with the representatives of Equity Square at 3 o'clock today. And if you go back there and look, you will see, and it might work, but their concern was they need to know it will work. Essentially, if you're looking at this yellow rectangle at the top of it, they have the entrance for their parking is right there. So the concern is if the building gets expanded, how do they get into their parking? And so I think it's prudent and to give them time to kind of work it out and get everybody at the table and kind of talk it out and see if it might work. The other thing that they pointed out to me, which was a very good point as I was standing there and looking at it, was as far as declaring property surplus, state law says, which the governing board has by appropriate motion determined is no longer necessary, useful, or suitable for the purpose for which it was acquired. And as I was standing out there, I certainly had some serious doubts as to whether or not it was no longer useful or suitable for the purpose for which it was required, because that easement gets them into their parking. Now, again, maybe it can be figured out and we can make it work, but the ownership over there obviously has serious concerns about how they're going to get into their, and also they have access for delivery trucks, and the garbage trucks have to back in there, and so hopefully they can hash it out. And so I would be happy to make a motion to defer until August 7th.
Second, Erickson.
Okay, there's a motion to defer by Councilor Neitzer, seconded by Erickson. Further discussion on the council on this. Councilor Erickson.
I'll just add, I know that there's been a lot of confusion of who knew what, and I don't want to get into that. But I think that the deferral is well intended, that the right people can sit at the table. All the tenants, I know that I received a few calls from tenants that were in the building as well as the ownership group. Some knew, some didn't. There's not a hustle, and so I think just making sure everybody feels heard and everybody has a voice in it, just to understand what it looks like and how it will impact the development next door to them, I think is important as well. And so I'm hopeful that you all can sit down and work it out and bring us back a new proposal, because I think it's wonderful that the Huey building, the potential for this redevelopment in our downtown is awesome. It's a great big deal to have that redeveloped, and so I certainly don't want to slow down that development, but just making sure everybody is well informed. Thank you.
Thanks, Counselor. Any other comments? If not, I'd ask for a roll call vote on that motion to defer.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg? Sale.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 47.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into Amendment Number 1 to agreement regarding Levitt Shell at Falls Park West.
Hey, Don.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Don Kearney with Parks and Recreation. This amendment is regarding the Levitt Shell agreement that we have with the Friends of Levitt Shell Sioux Falls, as well as the National Levitt Foundation. And in the process of obtaining insurance, the Friends of Levitt Shell found that there's a insurance limit in the agreement that called for $6 million of commercial general liability insurance and then $6 million worth of liquor liability insurance. So they asked us to look at that because those limits were unusually high. And so I talked to Mike Hall, who is our risk manager, and asked him to weigh in on those insurance limits, and also inquired with Karen Leonard, our acting city attorney, to inquire about whether those are appropriate limits in those two categories or not. They were high in their opinion. Typically, our third-party contracts insurance limits would be at $2 million and not $6 million. And so we all three parties agree that the $2 million insurance limits in those categories are acceptable and consistent with other agreements that we've had with other third parties. And so we're certainly recommending that we amend the agreement down to $2 million in those two different categories within the agreement. Glad to take any questions, and also mention that Jennifer Kirby, the president of Friends of Levitt Shell Sioux Falls, is here as well in case there are questions of her.
Thanks, Don. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? Questions for Don from the council? Councilor
None for
Brecky,
Don.
I'll start with you, and then I'll go to you, Rick. Councilor Brecky.
Mine was for Jennifer.
For Jennifer, okay.
I was just going to let you give a free advertisement. As long as you're here and we're live and recording, just take the opportunity to tell people about the Levitt and what's coming to Sioux Falls.
Okay, well, we're thrilled with the progress that's being made right now with the Levitt Shell. We have a contract in place with the city, our local nonprofit, which is the Friends of Levitt Shell, and then the National Levitt Foundation. And we're going to have our first concert August 3rd at 8th and Railroad. That's part of the Levitt National Tour, where the national organization sends bands to every community that has a venue, and they're coming to Sioux Falls to generate some excitement and awareness about what we're going to have in 2019, the summer, where we'll have our first concert season, where we'll have 30 free concerts, all family-friendly, down at Falls Park West, which is why it's a big mess right now. We're very grateful for that.
Thank you. You're very quick on your feet. That was a very good commercial.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yep.
Councilor Kiley.
Yes. Don? I would just say that my first question, I guess, is it's the standard 1 million per incident, 2 million total. Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, and that is very standard, so thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions, comments on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 47.
Move to approve item 47.
Second, Selberg.
Move to approve by Sale, seconded Selberg. Any further discussion? A roll call vote on, excuse me, Councilor Brecky.
Yeah, I wanted to just add a little further discussion. This is a personal favorite of mine. I'm super excited about this project, and I don't know if all the council members, how familiar you are with it, but one of the things that's most exciting is the Levitt Foundation to select Sioux Falls was extreme honor. We are the smallest venue that they've chosen in their whole national system, and they chose it because they believed in, I guess, the uniqueness of Sioux Falls and our ability to get things done, and just the vibrance of our community and how we do things here. So we're kind of a test for them, a small venue test, and I think it's been going really well, and I'm looking really forward to it. But I think it's going to be a special treat, And it really has a secondary impact of a multicultural learning experience through music. And so there's a kind of a second agenda, more than just bringing music to the community, but bonding the community together in a diverse way through music. So it's a really exciting thing. And so anything we can do to make it go more smoothly, the better.
Amen. Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, I'd ask for a roll call vote on that motion, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 48.
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards, those being Alex Hallbeck and Lynn Remmers to the Board of Historic Preservation, and Sandra Callies and Keith Lepore to the Visual Arts Commission.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 48, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve Kylie, seconded by Councilor Sale. Any discussion? Councilor Starr.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we always like to give a chance to, if any of these nominees are still here, and thank them for their service if they stuck it out with us.
Not looking good. But if you're
Tried to
watching
get the
from home,
intern in
thank
front
you.
of us, and I lost on that too. So.
Great. Well, I'd ask for a roll call vote on that motion, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert? Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 49.
Report of the June 30th, 2018 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Next item.
Item 50, a motion approving travel for 3 council members and 1 council staff member to the National League of Cities Annual Conference in November 2018.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Erickson.
Thank you. This was brought forward just to be able to have the conversation. I know that there's been a desire to potentially increase this and have a conversation about it publicly. And so for that, this is why it's on here. And so I will turn it over to the rest of the council.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item?
I move to amend to add the words 4 and 1. Change from 3 to 4 and 1.
Second, Staley.
And the purpose is to allow for 4 council members to attend the National League of Cities Conference. I think it's a marvelous opportunity for us to do some group bonding, and that's a premier conference for elected officials where they really get into really big picture thinking and big picture ideas. And since this is kind of a new era for us, I'm excited for at least 4 of us to be able to go and experience this together.
Okay, there's a motion by Brecky, seconded by Staley on that amendment. Any other discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor, if we could get a main motion first to approve the original
Move to
one.
approve the original, item 50.
Second.
All right, there's original motion on the, a motion to approve the original item. It was by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Kylie. And there's an amendment on the floor to that motion from Councilor Brecky, seconded by Councilor Staley. I'd ask for a roll call vote on the amendment first, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
No.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That has passed 7-1. I now would ask for any discussion on the amended motion. If not, a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
No.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That has passed 7-1. Item 51.
A motion approving travel for 4 council members and 1 council staff member to the National League of Cities Annual Conference in November 2018.
In light of the amendment that was just passed, I will move to withdraw.
Second.
Motion to withdraw by Brecky, seconded by Selberg. Any discussion on that? If not, can I get a vote on that, please?
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Is there any additional new business, council? Move to adjourn.
Second, Star.
Motion to adjourn by Selberg, seconded by Starr. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. That is carried. We are adjourned. Have a good night.